Saludos a todos and welcome to the PGP podcast, episode 21. Hey, Josh the Watt, principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, IC, Garland, USA, Garland, Texas, ready to rock and roll and learning from our awesome panel. You know what, Dr. Moreno? It's nonstop knowledge being brought to the table because this is a beautiful industry, the beautiful industry of knowledge where we prepare the future of the United States. Our awesome students. It doesn't matter if you're Ohio. It doesn't matter if they're North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, wherever it might be. But it's our awesome, beautiful future and how we prepare them. And the only way that's going to happen is by making sure that we share ideas with each other because iron sharpens iron. And I hear that there's this one lady out there that she had some kind of homecoming thing. She's still like in year 30
I still
something.
have this shirt on.
You're out of dress code. Go to in-school suspension. That's not the shirt you wear to my podcast, young lady. You're out of dress code. How was your homecoming?
35 years, Josh. 35 years. It's been 35 years since I graduated from Edinburgh High School out in the
everybody where you're at.
Valley.
Tell them where the valley is.
So the valley is in South Texas. So people don't really know that there's more of Texas south of San Antonio. When they say South Texas, they think San Antonio is it. But there is actually lots and lots and lots of territory below San Antonio. So I am just like 8 miles away from the Texas-Mexico border. And so that's where I'm at. I've been here for 3 days. Working and doing some stuff here, and 3 days of fun with my homies from the school days and stuff. So I had a wonderful time. Yesterday was the last day, and it was great to see all of my friends.
Good. I'm glad that you enjoy that. It's one of those beautiful things that sometimes we don't truly get to absorb the value of it when we are the students in high school. But as you reflect more and we walk with them through all these high school days, it's something that really adds value to us as individuals and making sure that we do that right environment for them. And so before we get started right there, we have a little segment here that's going to last 2 or 3 minutes right now. That's called the Chinchilagua moment. What is Chinchilagua? Hey, we're like, what? You know, you're looking at me like, I'm from North Carolina. Chinchilagua from Ohio? What the heck is that? So you all know, I can't speak for El Salvador or Honduras, but it's a game that us Mexicans play. And we all line up against the wall. And we crouch over. And what we do is we yell, Chinchilagua, y arriba boy. And that means, I'm coming. And we jump on top of each other. And we destroy each other's backs. And we get bruises and bloody lips. And we hit the wall. It's a fun game, but sometimes people get hurt. So what I'm about to say is just my thoughts on a topic. And then I'll hand the baton over to Mari. And this is my topic for today. You know what? There's always ways to improve because we're not alone. This job was hard, like Jimmy Casa says. And COVID, what it did was it really revealed the flaws in our system. And it revealed the flaws in culture, either on a district or at a campus level. And so the thing I would like to talk about right now is I've had the honor that the Lord has placed me in elementary, middle school, high school, and taught at the college level. And you know what? There's always that us versus you mentality within our own family. So whenever we are at the district level, let's say all assistant principals to the district level, all principals to the district, there's always a division between elementary APs, never feel comfortable around high school APs. Middle school APs are in their own world because they're middle school. But in the end, the thing is, there's always a division even within the same room for professional development. And we become that niche. And not only that, but then there's also that division within the high school level. Because you know what? High school level, I can't do that. That is so elementary. Oh, God. Please. The foundation of learning is at the elementary. You only wish you had the wherewithal to have the same group of 22 kids all day long. And so there's that same division that I'm talking about is how senior teachers look at freshman teachers. Oh, they baby them. Oh, or senior teachers, I would never teach freshmen. No. We're all on the same team. And
Exactly.
we all need to put the right people on the right seat in the bus. And you know what? And when we are within the central office for PD. Why do we have that division? I don't know. I can only speak about Texas in 2 cities in 3 districts. That's been my experience. Dr. Moreno, what is your experience with that? What I'm bringing up?
Josh, you bring up a really good point because you're absolutely right. I've worked in all three levels. I worked in elementary, I worked in middle, and I worked in high. And it's very cliquish, right? We we migrate towards, I guess, commonalities, but in reality, we need to work together because it's the kids that, especially when they go through a feeder pattern. I remember having a boss who said, we're going to have feeder pattern meetings, and it would kind of break that barrier where we're no longer kind of in their little niche, that we're looking at it from K through 12, where our kids are kind of going up that ladder. And it's so important to do that, because we have to lean on one another. These are kids that will grow up, and you want to make sure that you are supporting them all the way through. And talk about learning. I mean, I remember when I had 3 schools, I had an elementary campus and I had a middle school campus. And there's so much to learn between both of those levels, that you can leverage that knowledge between different grade levels like that. So you know what? You're absolutely right. And I hope everybody out there can reflect, look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I doing the best that I can? And can I learn from my colleagues that are at the elementary level, if you're in high school, for example? Because there's so much to learn. There's so many best practices that you can easily transfer from elementary to high.
And so and you know what, later on we'll talk. Hey, welcome to Dot McKeever Cheever from the Fantastic Four. Welcome in Central Hicks. Thank you for being here tonight. And it's just one of those things, again, I repeat myself. Even within your own feeder pattern, sometimes we create a division of unity because, those are the high school, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I would never talk to the elementary. And I'm telling you, because that's the way in the areas I've been, that they make you feel, because you don't have to say it. Your body language speaks for it. So let's keep that in the back of our mind, that we're all on the same team. And part of being on the same team is bringing experience. And what better than our principal roundtable number 3, welcoming our awesome guests with tons of value to the table. As I bring him in here from our system, we have everybody on board right now. Beautiful. Welcome to our awesome guests for being here tonight from all over the United States. Hey, welcome, gang. I'd like to introduce everybody, and we're going to go one by one. And I want you to tell the family this, all right? Who you are, what roles you served, and which one was your favorite. Who you are, what roles you served, and which one was your favorite. Dr. Drew, talk to the audience.
Hey, this is Dr. Tru Tomlin coming to you from Westerville, Ohio. Currently the principal of the Heritage Middle School in Westerville City Schools. I've been a high school teacher, middle school teacher in Fulton County, Georgia, as well as Forsyth County, Georgia. And then, let's see. All right, teacher, assistant principal. I was director of middle level services with a group called AMLE, Association for Middle Level Education, for a little bit. And which one do I like the best? With no disparagement to my current role, I miss the classroom. I love the classroom. I love teaching English language arts. It's in my heart. It's in my blood. So that's me.
Thank you, Dr. Drew. Always speaking awesomeness out to the world. Jami Fowler-White, awesome guest here before. Talk to us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jami Fowler-White. Let me see. I spent 10 years in the classroom, 10 years as an instructional coach, 4 years as an AP, and this is my 4th year as a principal. Ooh, tricky question. Which one do you like better? Actually, today I'm going to say principal, because as a principal, I still get to go into the classroom and teach. I still get to coach teachers, but I get to make a difference among like a whole school of students. So today, principal is my favorite role.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. Trelane, talk to the audience.
Good evening, everyone. I am Trelane Clark, coming from Boston, Massachusetts. Let's see, I have been an elementary school teacher, a middle school assistant principal, and I'm currently a head of lower school at a private school in the area. Again, like Jamie, the favorite. I don't know that I have a favorite. And as a school leader, I just love the fact that I can bounce between the classrooms and the teachers and working with other leaders. I love connecting with other school leaders, and that helps me to be able to work with all the other teachers and students. So, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Trelane, and met this awesome lady in North Carolina's North Carolina's conference. South Carolina, North Carolina,
North
South
Carolina.
Carolina, North
No,
Carolina
North.
conference. Gotcha, awesome lady here speaking about culture. Thank you for joining us, Doc. Talk to the audience.
Hey everyone, I am Dr. Queesha Tillman from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I have had many roles. I was a qualified mental health professional, a mental health caseworker. I was an AC, exceptional children's teacher in elementary, middle, and high, and alternative setting. I was an assistant principal for 6 years, and now I am in the principalship role, and this is my third year. And if you ask me what's my best, it's hard because I love, love, love the classroom dearly. I love working with people with mental health and disabilities all around, adults and children. But right now, I have to go with the rest of the panel, Miss Trelane and Miss Jami. It is principalship, simply because I get to be a change agent on a larger scale. I get to touch many people, many families, scholars, staff, faculty on a much larger scale and affect change that way. So principalship right now is my favorite.
Thank you for sharing. Everybody like to welcome all of you to the panel, Principal Roundtable number 3, and also like to welcome Jefe. Jefe, I disturbed him on his football game. Principal Cafela is here, part of the Fantastic Four. Sean Hurt also in being part of here, putting in their knowledge and viewing us and supporting us. Shira, thank you for being here. Also, Fred White, he might know a person here on this panel. I wonder who that might be. They might know each other just a little bit. Another past guest that we've had here. Thank you, everyone, for being on the show. Dr. Moreno, take it away.
Oh my goodness. I am so glad and so honored to be with you guys. I have everybody from, my goodness, Massachusetts, North Carolina. I mean, we have the whole gamut. So I'm super excited, and I want everybody just to know just a little bit more about you before we get into our questions for today. So can you tell me, and we'll start off with Ms. Clark. Ms. Clark, can you tell me who or what motivated you to become an educator?
Oh, that's one of my favorite questions. I had a teacher who just knew me from since I was, I think, six years old, first grade. She taught me. I was at a small private school in Boston, and she was the best teacher that I ever had. I named her my godmother. Forced her to be my god. No, I'm kidding. You're not getting away that quickly. And she said the same for me. So she has been such a supporter of me, of my entire life and my career as an educator. And she actually lives in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, so she really was very instrumental in my desire to become an educator. I decided that when I was 14 years old that I was going to be an educator, and it was because of her.
Oh, that is so sweet. And I just want everybody out there just to remind people that you never know who you're going to touch, right? So when you see your kids walking down the hallway, whether you're a principal, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a teacher's aide, you're gonna, whatever you say to these kids will inspire them. So look at you. I'm sure that this particular teacher is so excited for you. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. What about Dr. Tillman? Who or what inspired you to be an educator?
Oh, that's a good story. Good story. My oldest son, Desmond, who was diagnosed about around 18, 24 months with autism, severe and profound. Later on, we found out. He was my reason because initially during that time I was working in the mental health field. And after becoming his mom and really trying to understand, he was the only child in both his dad's side and my side who had any disability. So it was a learning curve for me as a mom. But I took the challenge on becoming a teacher, an exceptional needs teacher, just so that I can understand the inner workings and how to work with him at home, how to obtain resources, community assistance, all those things. And so he's my why. He's also my why into going into the administrative field. Although I have a couple of mentors that I just can't forget who noticed me even in the classroom, leading in my department, really pushed me and motivated me, inspired me to go on into receiving my MSA. Although I already had my PhD at the time in the classroom, they were like, go ahead and get this certification, get this licensure, go in and affect change on a larger scale. And so after a few months of convincing, I went and took that challenge. Yes.
Well, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Drew, how about you? Who or what motivated you to be an educator, sir?
Well, kind of all started with my folks. First of all, my mom was a nurse for a very long time, and my dad was in the Marine Corps for 29 years. So public service, serving the community and serving the larger public, like that was just something that was kind of ingrained and just kind of what we do. And then seventh grade, there was a teacher that I had. I'm going to call her out whenever I get the chance to. I was at Lynn Haven Junior High School in Virginia Beach, Virginia, home of the Bluefish. And I had moved around every 2 or 3 years, so I was never really fitting in. But Miss Meekins was my seventh grade English language arts teacher, and she was a tough teacher. She was a good teacher, and whenever I turned my homework in, I would kind of doodle in the margins. I would draw little pictures and stuff like that. And then she would give it back to me with a grade, but then she would also doodle back to me.
Oh.
And that's when I know, right? But that's when I found out that, like, all right, like teachers do more than just teach stuff. Like they had the ability to find kids literally in the margins and make them feel like they're a part of the story. So Miss Meekins, shout out, Miss Meekins.
Oh, that is so sweet. Oh my goodness. I have tears because that is so, but look at the small little thing this teacher did, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just made a world of a difference. I love that story. Thank you. And last but not least, Miss Fowler-White.
So I am the accidental educator. I
was
am.
me too. Don't feel bad. That was me too.
So I actually was going into nursing school. I actually got into nursing school, and my schedule was so I had 2 days a week off. My sister was actually a teacher, a third grade teacher at the time, and she convinced me to go into substitute teaching. I wasn't long into substitute teaching that I realized that I really, really enjoyed it. And so I was in my third year of college and I changed my major to education. Yes, I know. That's what I said too. I had to take the highest number of hours you could take. And then I did have an educator go to bat to extend my scholarship an extra semester so I could do my student teaching. So grateful to her. I was doing some scholarship hours in her office and she went and asked them to extend it for me. Without her, Dr. Bonita Lyons, I would not be a teacher today. So I will say that my sister has pushed me quite a bit over the years. She took me to my national board session. She's the reason that I'm a national board certified teacher. She gives me a little tug every once in a while. I don't see it at the time, but when I look back, like it was her, my sister, Dr. Queesha Fowler.
Oh, that is so sweet. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And you know what? We all come from different stories and different, reasons why. But, that was actually a fork in the road for you, right? You had to kind of pivot there. And I'm sure, look at you, you're smiling and you're happy. So I'm so glad that you decided to do that because you never know if nursing was actually going to give you the benefit that you have today, which is really impacting lives and children. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. And that's the whole purpose of this show, is to make sure that people, we all know, team, we all know that there's an exodus in our field. We know we can't hire people. We can't hire subs. We can't hire aides. We can't hire team members. And so it's about bringing in people and tell the good side of it. Not an angry post on Facebook by an educator, but it's about saying the beautiful stories that we do and we live every single last day. And so some people think that to be an educator or teacher, you had to have lined up your dolls when you're in second grade and taught them a squared plus b squared equals c squared. No, no. As you all known in the past 20 episodes, these are the first couple of questions, and no one really answers that way. Some do, a few do, but we all come from different backgrounds, as you've heard right now. So let's peel that onion a little bit more. Hey, hold on. Dr. Rachel Edoeket, past member here, past presenter, speaker, author, doing great things, moving to her brand new school. Shout out. Thank you for being here today. So tell the audience, Trelane, tell the audience, how were you as a student in high school, college? How were you a student? And how was your first year, young lady, as a teacher? Inquiring minds want to know.
Ooh, oh boy. I loved school. I always loved school. I actually was that one that taught my dolls. So I played games with my dolls. I'm an only child, so there was that. Um, I always loved school. I didn't have to be told to do my homework. I was always reading. I didn't really love TV. I wasn't a big TV watcher. So it was just kind of within me. High school, I worked super duper hard in high school. I failed my first class in high school. I cried like a baby, and I thought that my grandmother was going to lose it on me. And she was like, okay. Did you try your best? I was like, yes, I did. I swear I did. I said, did you? She said, did you ask for help? I asked for help, but and she said, okay, what is the problem? And it just was so revolutionary to me because, that's what she wanted me to do. And that's what I just continued to do throughout all of my courses. But my first year teaching, it was amazing and really, really hard. My first year teaching, I taught at a two-way bilingual school in Boston, and such a unique, blessed experience. I didn't know that at the time. My principal was challenging, passionate, just a real get these kids biliterate. And I loved that about her. And she had her own way of sending that message. But I'm so grateful that I did that, because people would always say, well, if you made it through a year at that school, you could teach anywhere in Boston. And it was almost like kind of true. But I had 26 kids. I had a beautiful class. I had super supportive parents. Those kids worked so hard, and I was able to teach in English and Spanish for the first 3 years of my career. It was great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Drew, how about you, my man?
Okay. Lots of stories about. Well, no, I won't tell them all. The basic is middle school. Want to go to the Tru Foundation. I didn't fit in. I was socially awkward. Like I still am today, but like I could barely dress myself when I was like in middle school. I just couldn't figure it out. But I was always kind of a decent student. I was more interested in being creative than being compliant necessarily when it came to, assignments and stuff like that. And then in high school, same, but it took me a little longer for the brain to kind of click in with like what I was really supposed to be doing, both socially and academically. But once it clicked, like I got it, right? So I totally get it. Like when I'm working with kids, when things don't necessarily make sense or they don't necessarily fit into the mold, because that was me all day long. That was just me. So I took all that knowledge into my first year of teaching, 1994, Harrisonburg, Virginia, Harrisonburg High School, teaching 9th and 10th grade basic English. I was also an instructional aide to a student who had suffered a cognitive injury. And so I had to learn sign language on that first year as well. And it was interesting. I found out, most of my students couldn't. This is the first time reading English, speaking English, everything. And so I had to. They gave me a big old textbook with like American stories, and I was like, "This is boom. Let's take this textbook. Let's do writing and reading another way, and let's have fun with it. Let's be creative. Let's just So that's where I learned a lot about creative compliance. So there you go. That's my first year.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you sharing those thoughts. Dr. Tillman.
All right. So going in, as I told you guys before, my first year as a teacher was in an AU. It was cross-categorical exceptional children's classroom. And it was at a high school, Union High School in Sampson County, North Carolina. And my first year, well, first of all, I wasn't the best student. I must say, I'm the opposite of Trelane. I was the goofball. I was the one that was always laughing and just doing everything I shouldn't have done. So I was not the model scholar. I was not. But and teaching was the last thing that I thought I was going to do in life. But anyway, it led me here. So moving on from an average student, in college, I kind of leveled up. Grad school definitely leveled up. But my first year as a teacher was off the chain. I went into a classroom going there for some understanding in how to not only teach the scholars in front of me, but take those lessons, those activities, and then apply it at home. So I lived, eat, breathe exceptional children all day long. So it was really funny because the going in that first year, not only did the staff, but the parents talk to me like I really knew what I was doing. It was so intimidating. Didn't know a thing, but I played it off. I played it off like I did. I guess what you needed to do was just care. As long as you cared, that was the main thing.
Relationships, yes.
There you go. There you go. Relationships. Just loving on those kids, loving on the parents who were in situations like me that didn't know what to do. So we were all in it together. And like I said, I did the best I could that first year, and I continued. I had such fuzzy feelings, such a sense of accomplishment and success that first year that I kept going. And here I am now.
Love it. Thank you for sharing and closing out the show. Right. Oh, this question, my bad, not the show. This question, Jamie.
I was the ultimate introvert. So I wanted to be in the room, but I didn't really want you to see me in the room. So I was literally the perfect student. Like I went through 12 years of high school, and I didn't go to the office for anything bad, like ever. Throughout elementary, my parents were those parents that volunteered. My mother volunteered so much that she was given a job at school. So I never wanted to be a child that went to the office. And so that followed me all the way through middle school and high school. My first year of teaching, I could say it was unusual. I told y'all that I started substitute teaching at the school with my sister. And so I was doing a long-term position in kindergarten, and the principal came in on a Friday and hired me. She said, the only different thing is your room has to be ready by Monday, right? So she hired me as a second grade teacher, and I worked for exactly 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then she came in, and she said, HR called me, and they told me, you can't work here. I said, yes, ma'am, I work here. Mm-hmm. She said, no. They said, you can't work here because your sister works here. So you have to move to a whole nother school. So 2 weeks after I started my first job, I had to move to a second grade school across town where I was teacher number 5. The children had 5 teachers that year. And I walked in and they said, yeah, you won't be here long. And I said, oh, no, I'm going to be here all year. I'm your teacher. And so those children didn't trust teachers at all because they said every teacher leaves us and you're going to leave too. I said, no, baby, I'm going to be right here every day. So we worked, but that was probably, I would say, to date, my most difficult job because when children don't trust the adult that's supposed to be leading them, like it's hard to build a relationship when that many people have left them.
Mm-hmm.
Where those children were in second grade, and then they thought that their teacher's job was to leave them. And so they only trusted each other. And so it took a lot of time to build those relationships so that I could actually teach something, because without that, like, there was no classroom management, there was nothing. And so those are the things, like, they don't teach you that in school. But I made it through that year. And actually, when I was able to go back to my original school that I had been in for 2 years, but that taught me that I needed to do relationships first. And it nearly broke my heart when those children actually told me, like, "You're gonna leave us too," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm gonna be right here." But, like, you just never know. um, I wonder what the impact of those students' lives would have been like if they hadn't had me as a teacher. Like, I don't know if they knew everything they were supposed to know, all those standards in grade two when they went to grade three, but at least they knew that they could trust a teacher after they
Mm-hmm.
had me. So that's my first year story.
Que bonito. How beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's exactly why we're in the best profession out there. The profession that creates all the other professions, education.
Absolutely.
And without further ado, I also like to, hey, welcome. Edwin Garcia, Doc, was our past member here. Sean Hurd still spreading out the love. And I would be, Profe, Sherrod Laws, part of the Fantastic Four here, family. I would be remiss if I don't mention this. Another panelist was Dr. Tammy Taylor, part of the Fantastic Four. But we all need to send those positive vibes. We all know as educators that the weather affects us. And she was part of that hurricane that got affected, so she couldn't be on the panel. It wasn't bad, but she lost internet on her part of South Carolina. So we just want to make sure we send out positive vibes, the best that we can do as educators, because all of us, you all know that the people in Hawaii are still going through that after that burn down last year. They're still not consistent. So as educators, that's another trauma. Just like Jamie talked about the trauma of not having an employee, that a teacher, permanent teacher, that those are the things that we walk into as educators. And there is no band-aid for the spirit on that kind of situation. So Tammy Taylor, Fantastic Four member, thank you, sending you positive vibes. And welcome to Dr. Shonda Harris for being here. Dr. Moreno, take it away.
Oh my goodness. And yes, thank you for bringing that up, Josh, because it's important. I mean, we talk about, we're all experienced principals, and we need to take care of our not only our kids in our buildings, but our families, right? Our families are just as important as well, especially things like this with hurricanes and whatnot. But just in general, I mean, I have somebody out there, one of my former parents, Marta Flores, who I'm super excited that she's joined our show today, because again, I supported not only her children but the entire family, and that's important. My question to all of you, I want to start kind of digging a little deep into the professions. Now, all of you are experienced principals. You're in the chair, right? And it's the hot seat sometimes. It's not always fun and glorified and everything. Sometimes we have to make some really tough decisions. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with Fowler-White. This is your first question, ma'am. How are you addressing teacher shortage? And how are you supporting those teachers that are going in through alternative certification? Because they didn't go through the whole, education experience through school, right? They were other professions. They were engineers, or they were, Spanish majors, but didn't go through education, the traditional route. So how are you addressing teacher shortage and those teachers that are coming in through alternative certifications?
So currently at my school, because we have a teacher shortage, as everybody else does, I actually have 9 teachers, 9 of my 15. That's like about almost 60% of my teachers who are on the alternative path.
Wow.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So um, what I found is that um, the district will have lots of different requirements for a teacher, but when they're on an alternative path, like, they're learning and teaching at the same time. So you have to, as a leader, balance the scales of the things that you require them to do and put a little bit on their plate at a time. Um, the ways that we support them at my school. I'm privileged to have 2 coaches and a dean who support the different content areas, but we'll go in side by side. So right now, my science coach is going side by side. She's going in and teaching with the brand new teacher, where she's planning with her. When our teachers are onboarded, like in the middle of the year, my coach sent her the first 3 weeks of her lessons and walked her through those, and then went in the room and supported her while she was teaching that, because it's a lot. There are all the
Mhm.
different platforms and things that you have to learn. There's just you figuring out like what teaching is. They may not have ever been in a classroom.
Yeah.
I promote from within. I've promoted my teacher assistants to become classroom teachers, to try to combat the shortage. My wonderful staff recommends people who we can coach and bring on board, because I tell them we're all a family. And
Mhm.
so, with the help of my staff, we are actually staffed at 100% this year. Last year we were staffed at 100%. The year before we had a lot of holes, my first 2 years. But once we get you in there, we try to do whatever we need to do. We coach you in whatever way we need to. We come in, you can come in the office, we can have some family chats and figure out what we need to do to get your life outside of school, right? So that
Mhm.
you can be
Mhm.
all in when you come to school. But we are making this up as we go. There is no game plan. It's like we're on the plane and we're flying and we're putting the parts together as we go. Like that is what we do. Like
That's
every
exactly what we do.
day. Teachers may not see it because they're in their 4 walls, but we have to see the whole school.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it's not easy. I'm gonna say that, but we are truly making it work. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And it is hard. I mean, congratulations that you're 100% staff. Not anybody, not everybody can say that, first of all. But wow, having 60% alternative certification, that is some heavy lifting on your part. And so congrats that you have a system in place to support your teachers doing so. What about Mr. Dr. Drew? What do you have as far as supporting alternative certification teachers and addressing the teacher shortage?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. It would be remiss if I didn't say that we, I first don't work with our human resources department, on recruitment and just getting out there to job fairs and stuff like that, and just really getting out in the community and seeing who might be interested, just doing some deep digging with that. So that's not work that we do alone in the principalship. You got to reach out to your district folks if they're available. Then I would say, like substitute teachers. I know they're tough sometimes to get, but sometimes just having conversations with them and saying, hey, tell me more about your story. Like, what are you interested in? Or you'll find someone who's kind of in the middle of like in between jobs or in between career choices, but you
Mm-hmm.
might have the conversation with them that might push them over to, hey, maybe I should do this teaching thing, and then once they're in there, mentors, of course, in the classroom to make sure they like have that support. Honestly, though, it's about if they need help, show up. If a new teacher or anybody like needs administrative assistance or whatever like that, and they ask for help, then give it. And when they don't ask for help, give it too, because data collection isn't just like looking at their numbers. If you aren't looking at teachers' body language on a daily basis, you're not doing the work. You're not doing like data collection because and everybody needs to be felt. Everyone needs to be valued, and everybody needs to be seen, and that's how you keep people in the positions and attract people to the positions. Like my former cafeteria manager reached out to me on Friday and said, hey, can I bend your ear about how to get a job in teaching? And the reason that she did that is because at our school, when she was with us, she felt seen, she felt heard, she felt valued. And because of that, now she wants to be, an intervention specialist working in special ed, so That's what it's all about. It starts, like you've already said, it starts with those relationships, not just with kids, but with adults on a daily basis.
I love that. That is so true. And some people, you mentioned the associate teacher, they may not want to be a teacher, but if you push them, the reality, they probably don't even know the pathway, right? And so providing them with that support. Thank you for sharing. That is awesome. Dr. Tillman.
Yeah, so we have, first of all, I got to say thank you, Lord God, that I am 100%
Yeah.
filled at capacity. Every last certified and classified, completely hired. I'm so blessed. And this second year running too. But how we recruit. We do have the help of our county. I'm very blessed to be a part of Cumberland County Schools, in which they have a numerous amount of ways that they recruit during the school year. In the summertime, it's always come on board, come on board. But we're also blessed to have a beginning teachers program within our county, in which not only do we recruit through this program, we have monthly meetings, we have special opportunities that they can go and learn and connect with each other, and, get together and tell stories and collaborate and just support one another. But in-house, we also have, and I'm kind of like Dr. Drew, I don't wait until there's a problem before I, try to reach out and connect.
Mhm.
But I have what's called check-ins. And I make that mandatory for our new teachers, new to our school, may not be new to the profession, but new to our school, and for our beginning teachers, that we come on the board every week. You sit down and look at my halfway decent face, and we talk about the needs and supports that you have since the beginning of the school. Now, my first 2 years, I did that in increments and spurts. But this year, my third year, I am not waiting until there's a fire, but trying to be more proactive. And so we've incorporated that. We have in-house mentors, and they get to meet every month. We just make sure that we have opportunities for them to connect and collaborate with one another, and kind of have informal mentors outside of our school as well. So we try our best to do plenty, plenty, plenty to keep them on board, because we have recruited from daycares. We've recruited from Family Dollar, from Walmart. So there are people that are not, like you said, coming from the profession traditionally. I myself was a lateral entry teacher. So I understand the ups and the downs with that, and the learning curve with trying to be just as good with those EVI scores as a seasoned teacher. So we
Yeah.
do everything that we can, just to make sure that they feel as best as they possibly can,
And
uh,
support them.
go in the role. Yes, yeah, it's not. And when they get here, this is what's so funny. When they get into the seat of a teacher, it's so much different than what they thought. It's different than what it was when they were in the classroom. And so they get to see all the ups and downs. So
Yeah.
there have been a couple that came on board, but was like, oh, Dr. Tillman, this is not for me. I don't think I can hang. We try our best to keep them, but like I said, it is not for the weak.
That's true. That is very true. Miss Clark.
Yeah, so a lot of great things have been shared already. In my previous context, I was in a district where there were some programs specifically geared toward trying to get folks into the profession, starting even at the paraprofessional level. They had a parent to para program. So some of those things were kind of built into the district, which were great. And I actually hired teachers, paraprofessionals from that program. One interesting story I was thinking about as folks were talking was I had a parent who had come from an island country in the Caribbean, and she had her son with us for about 2 years. And once he left the school, she came and said, I saw that you have a position open as a reading specialist, and what can I do? How can I get in it? And I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. So she is now a second grade teacher. She completely surprised everybody, I think, including herself, and her efficiency and her ability to build relationships with the students. And her students have been performing amazingly. So you really never know. You really never know. And just taking the risk and having some conversations and trying to get a sense of where people want to go. And really, one thing during the interview process I was going to mention is that once you've got people interested, but that interview process I think is so key, and actually listening for people's heart for children, because I truly believe that if you don't have that, I don't want you in my building, right?
You can't
I
teach them.
Yeah, you can't. And so I'm like, I can teach you how to teach. I cannot teach you how to love children.
Drop the mic right there, because that is so true. I don't care how many professional development courses you take on relationship building and caring and wanting to do what's best for kids. If you don't like kids, then don't get in the business. Yeah, because this is the business of kids. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So let's dig a little bit more now that we addressed that one need. And right now we're looking at individuals that are moving up because of the exodus. APs are moving up to principalships, and sometimes they might not be ready. Principals to area superintendents or whatever the alphabet soup in your state, in your district is. Because I call something, you might call it something else, but it's the same darn thing. So let's just start off at the basic level right now because we sit in the chair currently. What are you all looking at, Dr. Tillman? What are you looking at? Two echelons in your sphere of influence. The first one, what kind of leadership are you looking for from your teachers, your team members in the classroom? And what type of leadership are you looking for your assistant principal? So those are the two people, right? What kind of leadership are you looking for, especially after COVID? We know that we had this gap, and it's going to be here because we got those little babies that are second graders that never had kindergarten. That is a big ripple effect we're going to have to live with. All right, that's a fact. That's a reality. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Tillman, what type of leadership are you looking for from your team members in the classroom and from your AP?
I am looking for an all hands on approach for both. And with starting with teachers, I mean, I know that just like I stated before, we're getting people from different backgrounds or with no background in education. So I'm looking for our teachers to fill the gap. And I know it's already pulling and tugging on them as it is with what they're having to deal with just in their role alone. But in order to keep this profession thriving, it is really going to take all hands on deck. So I really, like I said before, I try to have opportunities where we can collaborate and build and support each other. So I'm looking for seasoned teachers to help to be, for lack of a better word, administrators, little administrators within their grade levels. I'm at a middle school and I have sixth, seventh, and eighth. And I know that on my sixth grade team, I have 3 veterans, 3 brand new teachers. I expect for our veteran teachers to kind of pull them along and not wait for me or our assistant principal to dictate and tell and coach and teach, but that we all help each other where we have opportunities for growth. For I only have one assistant principal, and I thank God for her, Miss Virginia Jicka. Shout out, Miss Jicka. Miss Jicka is my backbone. So we complement each other. Where I'm the loud, boisterous one, she's the quiet, logical thinker. And she'll Dr. Tillman, I don't know if this gonna work, but she never does it in front of people. So sweet, so sweet. But she's the one who can reel me back in. But I'm looking for her not to wait on me to tell her everything that needs to be done. When we have our meetings and we sit down and we brainstorm, we have decided that this year we were going to try to be 1 month ahead. Back in the day, well, 2 years ago, we've always tried to plan at least 2 weeks, but now we want to push it up to 1 month so we can give ourselves some wiggle room. Well, with Miss Jicka, she knows what to do. And so I expect for her to get it done and not just wait for me, but take initiative and show me that in my absence, when I'm out here speaking in the world, that she can hold that school down like nobody else. And they wouldn't even know I'm gone. So I am looking for an all hands approach on everything that we do, from not only our teacher leaders, but definitely from my administration.
Thank you for sharing exactly. And I'll be remiss if I don't mention this. All these comments, you guys are rock stars. Have you heard all the love that you guys are getting on these comments? All of you, good job. Kudos to your leadership, because you know what? Adults and kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you guys are putting it out there. Jami, talk to us.
So in my school, everyone is a leader. I expect for us all to be family. So like I put a morning note in to tell everyone who is in the building, who is outside the building, the names of the subs in the building, if we don't have a sub for something, so that everyone can pitch in wherever is needed. And so when our subs come in, like our staff is able to call them by name. When they say their name, they know exactly where they're supposed to go. And so that way the flow of the day is very smooth. I didn't do that when I first started out, but about 4 months in, I started doing it so that everyone could see the big picture, because I started in the middle when we came back from COVID. And so there were holes everywhere and I couldn't fill them all by myself. So I said, well, let me let everybody fill them. And so our subs kind of feel like little superstars, because they kind of feel like they're family, and it helps us to keep a sub every day. So we have like some permanent subs now. So that helps. Our teachers are tasked with helping each other. I expect if one person on the team doesn't know something, everybody and someone else does, then pitch in and help them to figure that out. So they're automatically on board to mentor. I'm grateful to have Dr. Hervey. Whew, it took me 4 years. I have not had an assistant principal until this year, and I've had her exactly 3 weeks. What I was looking for, I actually was looking for a former leader. A lot of people thought it was a strange that I'm only 4 years in, and I wanted to hire someone who was a former principal as my second in command. And when I hired her, I told her I'm very comfortable in my space. These are the things that I need you to lead. I don't like to micromanage. So when I tell you that these are the things I need for you to lead, I really want you to lead them. That means I trust you enough to actually do the work. And we are working, and she has provided so much balance in my life. And I'm so grateful to have her. And we talk about like what we're looking for, and she backs it up. She knows what the life of a principal is like, and so she'll pick up if it doesn't look like I'm gonna finish something. Like that's what you want. You want someone that can be you. I know that if I have to be out, the school's gonna run smoothly. And so it is something I would recommend to all people, but most people were not looking for a former administrator when they hired an AP. I don't understand. I'm telling you, this is what you need. This is your gift, because they know the work and they can help you. And so I'm so grateful that I have a bunch of mini leaders within my building, and then a leader to walk beside me.
Oh my God, Jimmy, you're so right. God, don't fear your AP. If you fear your AP, resign. You gotta have people that are smarter than you. If your AP smarter than you in master schedule, thank God. If your AP smarter than you in whatever, insert your computer program, thank God. And yes, we've all witnessed this. All of us have sat in the chair or sitting in the chair. You know that there's colleagues of ours that do fear that AP. And that is sad. Tisk
Yes.
tisk. Tisk tisk on you. Dr. Drew, what is the playbook?
Oh, the playbook for teacher leadership for me, people who are not afraid to push others and raise the bar for everyone, and people who aren't afraid to say the things that need to be said. Oftentimes people just, don't want to have those conversations, don't want to have that. They see it as conflict instead of, directive or directed collaboration, but like teacher leaders need to push the bar for not just their students, but for their colleagues as well. Right. So that's what I'm looking for teacher leaders, people who, come into work on fire and bring it every single day and push others to do it too. Assistant principals, goodness gracious, like it's already been said, I'm appreciative to have one. Dr. White, same. Previously I had Dr. Anitra Simmons, who was a principal before, and she and I, it was like, oh, it was awesome. And right now I've got Mr. Stuart Gartrell, and he's awesome as well. And again, I'm looking for people who show up on fire, and people who know that as an administrative team, we speak from one voice. It's not like this is your thing and this is, my thing. Like, because if teachers and staff and students kind of sniff that kind of divisiveness out, then that's a problem. So speaking from one voice is very key. And people who looking for an AP who asks good questions and continues to push me, because we should be able to complement each other, but don't let me get content. That's not my good place. I need to be in a discomfort zone.
That is such a great statement, Dr. Drew. That's why you're awesome, brother. Exactly. Make me feel uncomfortable. It's true. Please challenge me. Call me out. Obviously, do it in the right way, because there's still that line. You're there to assist me. You're the assistant principal to my vision. I was hired by the superintendent to bring a vision to that school. Assist me with my vision. That's great. That's perfect. Trelane, talk to us.
So much good stuff has already been said. I'm just going to add a couple things. One is just in terms of that second, that right hand for me. I was really looking for someone who could fill the holes that I know that I have. I know me, and I know the things that I struggle with, the things that I don't do as well. So I wanted someone who could fill those gaps. And that to me was very empowering as well, because, one of the most important things that a person can do, one of the strongest things, is to ask for help. And so being able to do that with that person is so critical. The other thing I think that I look for is when folks are really allowing what students' needs are to drive the work. So what the data is saying, what the street data is saying, that's the stuff that has to undergird the decisions. So we have to be paying attention to that before we decide to make some decisions and some changes. So really looking at what students' needs are and being vocal and saying, the students are telling us that they need more direct phonics instruction. Their data is telling us that. So we need to give them that. The students need more to feel like they belong more in school. So guess what? We need to do something to help them feel that they belong, right? So that's the kind of thing that I really look for, and that collaboration, of course, you all were just talking about, is so key. That willingness to de-silo the organization, so that you do not exist in a vacuum. We cannot do this work without really and truly depending on one another, it's really that really has to come through.
And guys, I mean, Dr. Moreno, we hear this 20 shows in the same tone, but you see, there are people out there that sit in our chair or the assistant principal chair that don't listen to podcasts like this, don't go to trainings. That's why they're an F campus. No disrespect to you whatsoever. But what's the definition of insanity? You've got people from all over the country right here. Look at these faces, all of us. We're all from different parts of the country speaking what is success, yet there are tons of schools in big cities, little cities that are F, D minuses, lower socioeconomic. Hey guys, this is free PD for you. Tisk if you're not getting this knowledge for free, or going to a conference, or going to a regional center. I don't know about the other states have regional centers, but there's little hubs in Texas that you could go in your part of the state and get training right there. Hey come on, guys, we got to do better for kids, and look at this knowledge that's being dropped right here. Take it, Dr. Moreno.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing. And you know what? I'm so excited that we have so much knowledge right here, right? Everybody's listening to different parts of the world, and we're all addressing and saying almost the same thing in different ways, But it's so thank you for sharing. I'm going to start off with Dr. Tillman this time. And my question to you, ma'am, is, you know, being a principal for 20 years, we have those incredible successful stories, right? And how we impacted the lives of children, whether it's a child or whether it's a group of children. So I would like to hear from you or tell the audience about a success story you had sitting in the principal chair. And I want you to also, so it's a two-part question. The second question, or the second part, is can you kind of think or reflect on a problem that you could have handled differently? So a success story, and then something that, you know what, I should have done something better because this was the outcome.
Okay. Ooh, okay. So with the first one, success story. I was assistant principal, as I stated earlier, for 6 years at a neighboring elementary school. And at that elementary school, I thrived. It was elementary. We dressed up. We had fun learning. It was beautiful. My principal at the time, it took a while for her to trust me, but she learned to kind of, pull the reins back and allow me to kind of be me. And that's that boisterous, doing too much type of leader, right? So, all in all, the success story behind that is I did such a phenomenal job, and I gotta just tell God thank you for it, that I became the district's assistant principal of the year, 2022. Yeah, that's not all. It went from district to the state of North Carolina, and then being nationally recognized as a national outstanding principal. But the
Woo!
real success story, I know God is so good. I'm still riding on it, y'all. That was 2022. But the success story is me as a principal now. I have children who knew me as an AP years ago who is now at my school. I'm at a school of choice. It's a classical school. And they come up to me almost every other day and say, "Why did you leave us? Why did you leave us?" They haven't grasped the concept that I was promoted. They thought I left them. That meant they miss me. They love me. Oh my God, it giving me chills right now. And they look at me so innocently, like, "Dr. Tillman, man, you were the best." Da, 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 da. That makes me good. Makes me feel good, but I have to explain to them, "Baby, look, I didn't leave you. I left because I was promoted. See, there I was an assistant principal. Now I can be a principal and I don't have to ask anybody what to do. I can just have fun like I want to have fun." So that kind of eases the conversation. I love it. I love it. That's a success story. Now, one of the most difficult things that I had to go through as a principal was my first year. My first year was rough. I got, for a figuratively speaking, my behind whooped. Okay. I went in bubbly thinking that what made me successful as an AP was going to do the same thing as principal. No, not so. It took a while to get the buy-in from teachers. And because I did it differently than my predecessor, I was
Mm,
relieved. My personality completely different posture, but it wasn't well received. So I still kind of repent because I didn't get to show them. It made me kind of, pull back a little bit, and they didn't get the full Queesha experience. And so I feel like because I did pull back, I didn't give them my best. So
mhm.
that is what has plagued me since day one, is that because I felt like I'm riding on a high, and I'm this loving person, but you don't see it. And it took months and years for you to see who I really am. It still hurt to this day. 'Cause I have people who are wonderful teachers in the classroom who left, and I took it as a personal hit. And so I had to, with mentoring, with different people who truly loved me and knew me, talking to me and encouraging me and telling me, "No, it's not a personal thing. Maybe personalities conflicted, but you go there every day and you do the best you can. And who stays is who stays. There are people who worked with you before who want to come. They want them people to leave so they can take their position. So those type of things kind of help me to gain a better perspective. It was
Yeah.
very challenging though.
Yeah, totally. I totally get that. Totally understand. Thank you for sharing. Miss Clark.
All right. So, in my previous setting, I had a population of families, mostly from Central American countries. And I loved it, absolutely love it. And I miss them dearly. I miss those kids and families so much. Um, and I do speak Spanish. And so I recognize that in terms of family communication and engagement, it was pretty, it was okay. It was kind of a little bit low when I first got there. Of course, that was right at COVID. July 1, 2020 is when I started my journey there. Um, and really at that point, just getting the communication out to families and making sure that they knew what was happening, just trying to figure out how do we do this. And one day it occurred to me that we were sending out, text, and we were printing out flyers and things, and we weren't really seeing the engagement that we wanted. So I said, I wonder if doing a video newsletter would help, and actually getting on and recording the information and sending it out. And my family liaison was fantastic, and he actually had that skill. And he took it and ran with it. And it was one of the most successful parts of my time at that school because people had access. People had access to the information in ways that worked for them. They could listen in the car. They could listen on the weekend. They could watch with their children as well. We started to include highlights of children, like they were actually doing. They actually did a spin-off of the video newsletter and started a newsletter, a news show with just the kids. This was elementary kids. So people looked forward to that. So I feel like that was something that was just really, really fun, and really helped me to get a sense of, what types of the different ways that we have to provide access for families to engage with us as a school. I think that something that I could have done differently. So I think that one of the things that was tricky, also coming in through at COVID. I also came behind an experienced, long-term, beloved principal who retired. Whew. Coming in as a first-year principal after a retiree in the middle of a pandemic, and I'll also name that I was the first Black principal in the entire district ever. So those were some times, right? I think that one thing that I would have done differently was to support the staff a little bit differently in terms of having some closure with that previous principal. They didn't get that opportunity because of COVID, right? And so I think it took a little bit longer for folks to really build trust, to understand who I was as a person, as an educator, and that I was not there to do anything but what was best for children. So I would say that doing something very intentional to allow them to say, you know what, thank you for what you did for us, for hiring me, for whatever it was they needed to say, so that closure was there, so they could be more open to the newness that I brought to the community.
You know what? It's tough coming right after someone who was tenured for such a long time. So, but I'm glad that you can reflect and you can say, to yourself, how can I learn from this? And it's great now that you are reflecting and looking at how you could have handled it differently, so that when the next time it comes, right, you got it. We got this.
That's right. That's right.
Miss Fowler-White.
Unlike Trulane, I was the fourth principal in 10 years at my current school. So trust did not come easy.
Yeah.
The parents were not trusting that I would stay, the students, the staff. So one of, I believe, my best success stories is being able to gain the community support. When I first came in, the students that I would see riding their bikes and walking the neighborhood were not attending my school. And so they were attending the charters in the outlying area. And my goal was to gain them back, one parent at a time. And so I worked the car rider line. So I worked the car rider line. I talked to all of my parents. I learned the names of all of my students. And little by little, we gained the community support. So much so that last year we had 23 community partnerships. Yeah, which is a lot. Our students got their own bicycle. Like people just walked in off the street. This year, people walked in off the street, gave me backpacks, checks, and said, "What do you need this to go to?" And so my population has doubled in size. I now have students from the community that actually come to my school, and so I believe that is my greatest success. Because children should be able to go to their neighborhood school. You shouldn't have to shop around and just go anywhere. You should be able to come to school at home. And so at the same time, something I could have done differently, because I know all my children by name and their families, like I know everything about them. So when my children would get into a little trouble, sometimes because I knew more than the teachers knew, the consequence that I gave, they might not have understood the consequence that I gave. So they saw me as a little soft on discipline because they didn't know what type of consequence I actually gave. Yeah. So something I would have done differently, had a better system for explaining to that follow up with the teacher for when they send a child to the office or a child comes to the office to explain like what happened, so that everybody would actually know. When parents would come in the office and share things with me, like the teacher didn't know that, right? So there were a lot of times some underlying things. My goal was always to restore the behavior and stop it. Sometimes a consequence that an outsider looking in thinks that a child should have may not be the best one for them. And so that is something I'm trying to do different in this school year, because I tell my staff when I ask the question, I want the real answer, but I wasn't really ready when they gave me the real answer. So I had to do some reflecting and then come back differently. And but the staff have said that they said it's better this year, but I think it's because I'm trying to do better by doing the follow-up. Like you sent me this, this is what happened, like, and so that they can understand, because there's so many moving parts to our day that sometimes there is that follow-up with the actual adults.
A principal's day is never a routine. Never. Not a single day is the same, right? So kudos to you, and I'm so glad that you are now moving forward and you have a plan. So awesome, Dr. Drew.
Well, any success usually is the result of a problem. So,
so you can put those together. I get it. I love it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. So many of our stories like have interesting parallels. So, Dr. Tillman, I was the Georgia assistant principal of the year way back in 2000. I won't say what year, anyways. But I thought too, like I could take that AP experience, and when I had the first principalship, like, oh, this is going to be kind of smooth sailing, and it was not. I followed a beloved principal who had retired, and our leadership styles were very, very different. And some people were, oh, great, this is refreshing. Other people were very, not so sure, not how, kind of questioning everything. But really the problem was I didn't ask for help. I really felt like if I asked the district too many questions, then I might be seen as incompetent, when really, like, you need to ask for help. So, like,
absolutely,
it's not, anyway. So that's a valuable lesson that I learned. So that's why the success story is where I am as a principal now at Heritage Middle School. We've closed gaps. We've got like our star rating for the state is looking good. Our report card is looking good. We've raised the reputation of the school. But for me as a leader, it's because the community, I've communicated more. I've asked for help more, and not from a deficit perspective, but just making sure that, like, again, if I have a question, I ask, what needs to be done. And really, I can't focus on just one success part. It's the daily opportunities that we're given, so, like, if I see a student in crisis, a student who's cussing up in the hallway, having a rough moment, then really the success is when I get to walk side by side by that kid and just say, let's walk and talk. Let's just walk and talk it out. And we'll just do a lap or two. I get that kid to a good place, and then they're ready to learn. You know what I mean? That's those micro successes. That's the stuff that we've got. Those are the trophies we need to put on the mantle.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like those daily opportunities. So those are the successes.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And you know what? You're so right. So many times do we see when principals are asking for help, some people take that as a negative, right? And we can't be seeing it like that. So that's why places like this podcast right now, is so valuable. And I encourage anybody out there in the audience who has questions, that want to ask questions to experienced principals, do so out right now in the chat box, so that we can help answer some of those questions, because this is where you're going to get those answers, right?
And no one should feel, regardless of, it's about making your chair look right.
Yeah.
And look, this is 3 decades. You're 32 for me. I'm an old fart, okay? And I'm telling you, and when you all know this. After a certain point, you're like just straight out. You're tired of the little stuff.
Yeah.
I tell people, this is my 3rd district, and I say, hey, teach me to fish. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm used to doing it another way in another school, another district. Teach me how to fish. I don't know. I want to give you what you need, and I'm talking about central office or whoever it is. So don't be shy of saying that. Because you look more foolish not asking questions or not getting support, and then giving, for lack of a better term, crap to them. That's when your name will be tarnished by the higher ups. So ask questions and just say, hey, teach me how to fish. What do you want like this? I'll make it happen, but you got to let me know. And on the other part, before we get into my question, is, hey, if you send me a kid and you choose to write a referral, and I usurp your authority, remember, when you send the kid to me, I'm taking away your power. I take away your power. And you know what? However I handle it, you chose me to handle it. And these people are too nice. They're being very PC. That's fine. Remember, 30 years. I don't care. Look, you chose to send me that kid, and I'm going to deal with him, because you know what?
The way you want to.
We hear it all. They frustrated you that last 30 minutes, and you had enough. And then you know what you tell me? I've let it go for so many times. I had enough today. No, shame on you. You should not have let it go so many times. Now I got to put out your forest fire because you let it go on for so many times.
Yeah.
So remember, when you all send us those kids, we will do right by you. I guarantee you, more often than not. But we really we have the time, not like you, because you're teaching. We have the time to dig into that kid's brain, find out that his mom got beat by dad the night before, find out that they had to feed the kids, their little younger brother and sister. They're tired. That's why you try to wake them up 3 times and they wouldn't, because they've been keeping their kids, their little brothers and sisters up. Did they tell you that? No. They told you, leave me alone. They were disrespectful to you. You didn't have time. We do. So we just say, you know what? Chill out. Go apologize. I don't want to see you back. Be compliant with what they tell you. That's all you got? That's all you gave them? Yes. Because you were not taking care of their kindergarten kid or their baby feeding and changing the diaper at 1 in the morning. Those are just
Yes.
facts because we have the opportunity to deal with those discipline issues. And you never know, dad and mom might be incarcerated and they're being raised by Nana who has to work 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And Nana is working 2 jobs. So kid couldn't get up because kid is just not focused. He's never been part of the factory system. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I'm just letting you guys know that sitting in our chairs, we have more time to dissect the wound and try to
Yeah.
cure it. And you know what? We all know when there's heavy wounds, there's more than one operation. And to get into that kid's quality world, it's going to require more than one operation. And sometimes
True.
we don't go heavy on them. So just saying, putting that out there for those of you that complain because we're too weak. We're not weak. We just know how to get into that kid. And so, team members, my question is this: as we're trying to wrap it up right now, just real quick. Hey, Dr. Drew, what keeps you up at night, brother? About our profession, what keeps you up at night, brother?
Ooh, man. I would say
Tough
sometimes yeah, that's a tough one. Sometimes I feel like, gosh, we never seem to get it right. Like we're working on the same problems all the time, working on the same, and like this is year 30 for me. And it's like some of the same conversations that I had back in 94, we're still having now. And I'm like, that's the tough part. Like, that's what keeps me awake sometimes. It's just like, we got to get it right. Kids can't wait another year for us to figure this out.
Thank you, brother. Hey, Dr. Tillman, what keeps you up at night?
I would say I call myself the fixer at my school. And it's not always a good thing. I am trying to raise a culture in which we can problem solve. We have a system of how we problem solve, and we know who to call for what. In my role now, I feel like, and there are probably some things I need to change up in my system, but I feel like I'm the one who gets all the calls instead of it being addressed to our student support services team, to our bookkeeper, to whatever, everything comes to me. And that does become overwhelming sometimes. So what keeps me up at night is though I feel like I have to solve every problem. I have about 436 scholars, maybe 72 faculty and staff in-house. I feel like I am solving over 500 individual problems on a daily basis. And so I have got to streamline my process so that I can be functional not only for my school, but for my family, my relatives, my internal family. So
Thank you. Jamie, what keeps you up at night?
Mm. Well, same as Dr. Tillman. Let me know when you figure that one out so that I can do that one too. But along with carrying the burden of like all of our students, our staff, our community, everyone, what keeps me up at night is student proficiency, especially in math. During COVID, we always told our parents to read to their children. We did not tell them to count with them. And so that keeps me up because we still have students who had their foundation on a computer if they so chose to log in to go to school. And when I took over, 70% of mine had not logged in at all because they had life. And so figuring out how to reach back and give them that math foundation, because if you don't have that and we don't bridge that gap, they will continue to struggle all the way through 12th
Yeah.
grade and in college. And so that truly keeps me up. We have some things in place to help with proficiency in, ELA and reading. But what do you do when a child still doesn't have the basic foundations in numbers and operations when they're in the 5th grade? Like, what do you do? That truly keeps me up every single day. And so still working on that. And so I'll have many sleepless nights until we figure it out as a nation, right?
Jamie, thank you for sharing. Trelane, what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night is this question: how can I inspire teachers in schools to level the educational playing field? so that every child has an opportunity to get what they need to learn. That equity. How can we ensure that teachers have the skill, have the knowledge, have the heart to do all that is necessary so that children can get what they need? And that's not only curricularly and social emotionally, but also fiscally. So looking at our resources, um, you know, it is just, we know that, the pie is not divided equally. And we really need to fix that. And I hope one day we can.
Dr. Moreno.
So we're almost to the end. This is the last question. So I'm gonna start off with Dr. Drew. So real quickly, can you recommend to the audience how do they grow their professional learning network? So how do they grow that? And two, name one organization that you suggest educators should join.
Well, first of all, I would say to grow your PLN, your professional learning network, is the first step is get on X, formerly Twitter, and look for some people in there. Join some Twitter chats. For me, it's been a minute since I've been on Twitter chats, but they're all over the place, and they've covered all different types of topics. So you'll find experts out in the X Twitter world. You put a question out there to Rick Wormley or another thought leader out there, and a lot of them will respond. And it's like, wow, I didn't know they were going to be able to answer my questions. So just making those connections, doing PD like this as much as you possibly can. We can't always afford to go to conferences and travel and all that kind of stuff, but seeking out these opportunities when they're free and online and all that kind of stuff. And then an organization, again, I'm trying not to be biased. I work for them, so I know they do good work. But if you're interested in middle school stuff, AMLE, Association for Middle Level Education, formerly National Middle School Association, they do great work. They know what they're talking about with middle grades, and they're constantly trying to push to make sure everyone recognizes how important young adolescents are, and everything like that. Did that answer the question? I think.
Yep, that answers the question. Thank you.
Right, cool.
Thank you. Ms. Fowler-White, how do you grow your PLN and one organization to join?
Well, I want to thank everyone who's listening today because this was your first step in growing your PLN.
Yes.
So I would recommend you also go to X and follow each of us. Subscribe to this podcast because there's always good nuggets in it. If you want to join an organization, a free organization that's really good on Facebook is Teach Better. They're very supportive. They have things for teachers. They have things for leaders. They do a blog that is totally voluntary where educators share their knowledge, and it costs you nothing. If you want to join one that actually costs a little bit, but it's worth it. I'm in elementary, so I would say NAESP, the National Organization for Elementary School Principals, would be a really good one if you are a leader, and then just your local network if you're a teacher.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Clark.
So again, yes, X, even Instagram. Lots of us are hanging out on Instagram now. And then, looking for these types of podcasts, etc., to grow your network, and asking other folks, who I should follow, who should I go after, has been really, really helpful. And I would say I have to do a promo for the organization that I lead, Black Women Education Leaders Incorporated. I'm the national president. And so this organization has been such a blessing for me, and we are going strong and always open for membership. The opportunities to network, to learn, to have professional growth, but also to develop sisterhood are unmatched and not found anywhere that I've been able to find. Additionally, I would say ASCD. I love ASCD. I love all of the workshops, conferences, the publications that come out of that organization. So those would be my top two.
Awesome. Thank you. And Dr. Tillman, just because I like you, I wanted to keep you to the last because you're my little feisty. I love it.
Thank you. Well, look, I'm gonna go ahead and put my shameless plug in, Trelane. Put me on, sign me up for that agency, whatever it is you got, that organization. I want to be a part of it. I wrote a book, Untapped Power, and it's all about the superpowers that we unleash as Black women and go up the leadership ascent. Look me up on what is it, Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. Okay, now back to the regularly scheduled program, everybody. So
I told you I was going to keep you for last because I knew you were going to drop the mic on me.
Okay. So look, what grew my program is all about the social media on Facebook. There are several groups on Facebook still. We have Instagram and of course X, or formerly known as Twitter. I have no one said anything about books, but there's several great books from great authors that helps us with our leadership and our own individual experience. And just like Trelane said, she was the first Black female for her school. I was the first Black female for my school. So we all connect in some way, shape, or form. And I think it's important for us to collaborate, not only at our conferences, but even within our districts, even within our states. So there's opportunity for us to network. And if there's not that you see, create one. I challenge you all that's listening to create an opportunity so that we can collaborate even the more and grow network exponentially. I think that is, did I answer your question, Dr. Moreno? I think that was it.
One organization.
Organization, yes. So National Association for Secondary School Principals. Because I'm secondary, that is a good network. I met so many people. One of those organizations, I was able to meet Principal Kafele. And through that, connections just sparked, and the rest is history. So yes, great things in collaborating, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing, everybody. Here we go. Lightning round. Lightning, guys. All right. No, not 10,000 pages. All right. Lightning round. We're at the end right now. So this is called the Échale Ganas. So for those of you that don't know in North Carolina, those of you that don't know in Ohio, there's one word that's used through all of South America, Central America, and Mexico. All Hispanics use it universal, just universal. It's called ganas. And you know what? People try to use it like no, there is no equal. There is no equal in English. It is a word that's used from generation to inspire future kids. Grandchildren are told that word from grandma. La abuelita tells ganas is something to inspire you. It's something to bring that fire in you, light that fire. So we're going to let you light the fire for all those educators tomorrow. So we're going to start off with you, Dr. Drew. Here we go. I hope you're ready, brother. I want some ganas. Give either advice to a new teacher or administrator.
I would say it's a term. It's a Cajun term. It's called the lagniappe. Bring the lagniappe every day. Lagniappe is a Cajun term. It means the little gift. Put a little extra something in every day.
Love it. Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or a student that wrote you, that inspired you.
Oh, this is still me?
Yeah.
Oh,
You have 7 questions.
Sorry.
7 questions.
Someone
teacher
didn't do their homework.
All right. It's my wife. She's a first grade teacher. And I get a text from her all the time. And the one that I like the most is she says, check that commute. And so that reminds me, get on home for work-life balance.
Love it. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
I got to say my wife again. I'm sorry. I get to buy one, get one free on that one.
All right. Who should they follow on social media? Real quick.
Rick Warmley.
Exactly. What one song that embodies your spirit, brother?
Ooh, all right. It's a deep cut by the Smiths back in the 1980s. A song called "Headmaster Ritual." That's all. That's all I'll say.
Dr. Drew, why would you bring on the Smiths? I know that you would. There you go. Your favorite quote, my man.
Education is not the filling of a bucket, but the lighting of a fire by Yates.
What is your favorite cheat food or sweet?
Sheet cake, the whole cake.
Agreed.
Just a fork, boom.
There you go. How can people reach and get a hold of you, brother?
I'm on X a little bit. I'm on Facebook a little bit, and I'm a part of a group called Creative Leadership Solutions as well. So reach out.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Tillman. Look
Yeah,
at one
yeah.
one little conference, and look at that. We're together. I love it.
I know. And it
Well,
can't be over. It can't be over, Josh. We got more work to do.
You got it. All right. Give advice to either a new teacher or administrator.
Okay, 2 words: relationship and balance. Relationships, you got to build strong relationships in order to get the type of result you want in your school community. Balance, because you have a bigger purpose than just one thing. You're bigger than just one thing. So you got to balance home and do your best to balance work.
Read an email, a text, a note from a teacher or student that you read and inspired you.
One of my former teachers, Diamond, she sent me a quick message. Noah didn't stop building the ark to explain himself to everyone who doubted and hated on him. Keep building your ark. The rain will do the talking.
Love it. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
A current educator that inspires me is a couple of my mentors, Dr. DeGadio, Dr. Shanessa Fenner McIndoe, Dr. Mary Black. The list goes on. But I want a quick shout out to Principal Kafele, the boss educator, Dr. Nelson, and Joe Sanfilippo.
Lightning round, young lady. Lightning round.
Okay.
Who should people follow?
They should follow me. Follow me. I'm on all the social media outlets.
There you go. Exactly. One song, una canción that embodies your spirit as a person.
Okay, I heard this song. I'm not sure who is the writer, producer, but God made it fail. God made it fail. Everything the enemy tried, God made it fail.
There you go. Your favorite quote?
Favorite quote is Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only be still.
Amen. Amen. Your favorite cheat food? Favorite
Pizza
sweet?
and wings. Pizza and wings.
All right. Gotcha. How could people reach out and connect with you?
Yes, I have a whole website. My daughter, who's in college, helped me build because I don't have those skills. It's www.QueeshaTillmanPhD.com. I have all my social media outlets, my Google phone number. Anyway, every way to contact me.
Are you going to be in North Carolina in March?
I am. Yes.
All right, Jamie, here we go. Give advice to either a new teacher or administrator.
Administrator, listen more than you talk and never underestimate the power of one-on-one conversations.
Love it. Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or a student that inspired you.
Oh, I love this one. So this one says, Dear Principal Fowler-White, thank you. I truly appreciate your leadership and enjoyed our first conversation. And it is very refreshing that you are a keeper of your word. Everything you do is in the best interest of our scholars and our school faculty. Your acceptance of us and all of our quirks reminds me of a mother's love. With appreciation.
Eso. I love it.
Yeah.
Que bonito. How beautiful. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
Oh, I have so many. Okay. So I would say you randomly sent us notes like at least every couple of weeks. And they always seem to come when we need them the most. So today I want to give you flowers.
Thank you. Thank you. Who should I'm not ready when you guys do that. Who should people follow?
They should follow my husband if they're in leadership so they can get their messages on the Labyrinth of Leadership or at Teach Better. It's on Twitter and Facebook.
One song, una canción that embodies your spirit.
Rise Up by Andra Day. It helps me remember that no matter how I'm feeling, there are so many who are counting on me to be at my best each and every day.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Your favorite quote?
Once you learn to read, you will be forever free by Frederick Douglass.
Love it. Your favorite cheat food? Favorite sweet?
Well, I like hot food, so hot wings and hot Cheetos, although my children don't believe I eat them. I eat them. Yes, I love them.
I finally had Nashville hot chicken when I went to NASSP. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
How do people reach you?
They can reach me on Twitter. It's just 4Js and 821. I also have a consulting company with my husband. It's called Digital PD for You. You can reach us on all platforms at just that. We have books, and we do PD, we do consults. So please reach out. I love helping.
Awesome. Fred, love you, brother. And Trelane, here we go. Give advice to either a new teacher or administrator.
Remember that you must take care of yourself to take care of others.
Yes.
Agreed. Read a note, an email, text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
So I mentioned my godmother at the beginning, and once she sent me this, she said, "So proud to have known you and to have been a part of your life since you were a 5-year-old woman." The word on our morning prayer call was walk in God's finished work in your life as he fulfills the desires of your heart.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
Current educator that inspires me. I will have to say my co-host for the podcast for Be Well, Dr. Jocelyn McDonald. Just so in awe of her and all that she's been able to do under difficult circumstances.
All right. Who should people follow? Give me one person, social media.
Thank you. We went out a little bit, so can you repeat that one again?
Who should people follow on social media?
I'd say me and at leaders_black Women Education Leaders Incorporated.
One song, una canción, only one that embodies you as a person.
This one is called "It Would Take All Day." It's by Kirk Franklin.
All right. Your favorite quote?
My favorite quote, once you are free, free someone else.
Oh, love it. Love it. Your favorite cheat food? Sweet. Which one?
Chocolate, peanut butter, anything.
Oh, there you go. How can people get a hold of you, Madam President?
At Trey Clark Leads on IG and Twitter, and through blackwomeneducationleaders.com.
Thank you, panel, for being here. Stay on tight before after we get off the screen. Thank you, everybody, for seeing us. If you're watching this on the rebroadcast, please like it and share it. Tag other people. Tons of knowledge was dropped today by experienced, tenured administrators who have sat in that chair, have overcome obstacles, and that's what it's all about, is learning from each other. Iron sharpens iron. And don't forget to join us. What do we have, Dr. Moreno? We have the Teacher Roundtable number 2 coming up. Then we are all in the family. Bus drivers, cafeteria workers, custodial staff, they're going to be part of a podcast. Then my first year teacher, first year principal, first year assistant principal, and then we got Grow Your Why. Because there's this guy that I know wrote a book. He's part of that chapter, so we're going to bring some of those authors. Thank you for being here. We care about you. We love you. You're not alone. Hey, educator in Missouri, you're not alone. Hey, educator in Oregon, you're not alone. Hey, in the Dakotas, you're cold, but you're not alone. Make sure that you reach out to any of these educators, any of these podcasts, because you are here as one family, the family of educators that create the future. We build this nation with our words, our actions, and our love. We'll be seeing you. Join us next week for podcast episode number 22. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Échale ganas.